Hi, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to get into a dicey topic that I see all over social media, Facebook, Instagram, especially here on YouTube. Does the good and the beautiful cause gaps? What about the fluff? It seems it's quite popular nowadays, and it has been for many years, to dogpile on the good and the beautiful as if it's this horrific curriculum, as if somebody's sitting behind the curtain just, whoa, we're going to damage your children and we're going to make them ill prepared for life and whatever their future is and whatever it is that they want to do. And you hear constantly, you see it constantly, you read it constantly. It's full of fluff. The gaps. My child had gaps. My child went from this to that, and the gaps, we had to start all over. We had to do a whole nother year. And then people see that and they're like, oh, they start questioning, well, my child is struggling. My child was not understanding place value or multiplication or insert whatever skill it was. And then they too start questioning, and then they get on the bandwagon and they start dogpiling, and it turns into this snowball that just rolls completely out of control. And people stop, or they don't stop to consider that it's a curriculum, which means it's a tool. It's not to have mastery over you. And that you as the parent educator are the one that is ultimately responsible for determining and ensuring that your child doesn't have gaps. No curriculum is perfect, and no curriculum is going to absolutely ensure that your child is going to understand everything. All it can do is just be a book, point you through steps A through Z. This is what you need to know, and this is how you get there. But it can't guarantee that your child is going to understand those things. That's up to you as the parent educator. And so I decided, once I saw this comment yet again for the 100,000th time, it seems, to actually post something, and it was well received. At this point, it's received almost 100 interactions, likes, whatever you want. That was buried on a post somewhere, on a group somewhere. And I wanted to share that response here on YouTube, because so many of us moms this time of year look to YouTube for reviews and personal experiences with a particular product. We don't want to invest in something that's going to harm our children. We don't want to spend any money or download something for free and waste a year of time on something just to have to redo it again. So, pardon me, I have a cold. I can't breathe. So, without further ado, I'm going to share with you my response to that question. I am a low production, low budget YouTuber. I don't have any idea how you do the split screen with my writing on one side, my face on the other. I don't have a teleprompter. I don't have a little scripty thing that I put up here and I can just read while looking. I can't do that. So bear with me, and without further ado, like I've already said, I'm going to get into it. So this is my response. Again, the question is, does the good and the beautiful cause gaps? What about the fluff? And my response is, if you follow it through from 1 through 6, the levels, there will be 0 gaps. This has been happening a lot, and frankly, it's sinister, because it is. The comments in this thread compare the good and the beautiful to, say, math with confidence or math you see. It's like comparing apples to oranges. You are comparing a spiral program, the good and the beautiful, to a mastery program, math you see, and a mastery light, math with confidence. You have to decide if you want to work on the same skill for multiple days or a year, or if you want to learn multiple concepts a little at a time and review consistently. There is no wrong program, and no, there are not gaps. Gaps, in quotes, is like the word fluff, in quotes, when it comes to homeschooling and the homeschooling community at large. I'm convinced that most of the people fear-mongering have zero idea what they're talking about, because the terms they use are inconsistently used and are relative and nebulous. Then these same moms get everyone that likes the good and the beautiful, or those that are curious and inquiring about it, to doubt themselves and fill their heads with doubt. It's wrong. It is wrong. It's okay to say your child needed a mastery program. It's okay if your child didn't do well with the amount of color and the graphics or the narrative format for the younger grades. Everyone needs to find what works. But the issue is people put a spin on their experiences that are influencing others. They are appealing to the emotional state of mind and the mother's heartstrings, intentionally or unintentionally, to sow seeds of doubt and consternation. You ask someone, what exactly is fluff or gaps, or what they are, and it's a vague snippet, rarely anything solid and concrete. How can there be gaps in fluff if you can't articulate what that is? If you can't explain it, how are you going to recognize it within the curriculum? I mean, a legitimate point. Think about that. If you're reading comments or you're watching YouTube, like I happen to do when my babies are napping and I'm getting ready to prepare for the next school year, if I'm going to be spending money on a curriculum, I want to know what to expect. And then you see just video after video after video of this mom saying, we quit this, we quit that, we quit for this, my child had gaps, it failed my child, it's bad, 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 bad. And all the gaps, it doesn't teach anything that your kids are supposed to know at any sort of level. Being a little dramatic here, but you get the point. You can search Good and the Beautiful on YouTube and you'll get quite a list of complaints. Anyhow, back to this. The gaps they think they see are because with a spiral method, a little of each concept is taught at a time. Level 4 in both Math with Confidence and The Good and the Beautiful teach essentially the same thing, except The Good and the Beautiful includes skills that Math with Confidence leaves for levels 5. Example, decimals with multiplication is to name one. What The Good and the Beautiful takes 1 to 2 lessons to teach, Math with Confidence takes 2 to 4. It teaches them in a different way, but there is a crossover. From year to year, check the scope and sequence. It's generally the same things. What is different in the scope and sequence, or what is in one and not the other, is that The Good and the Beautiful is ahead of Math with Confidence by about a half a level, give or take. I haven't seen Math with Confidence 5 to study yet, and I haven't, so I won't know until it releases in June, but I do plan on getting it, and I do plan on opening it up side by side and comparing with pen and paper, making a long list of notes and seeing what's in it. If it's working for your child, then that's what you go with. Don't let someone else scare you away from what is good for your family. Again, neither program is bad. They are different. It's okay for anyone and everyone to use what they like and need, but I guarantee you that 90+% cannot adequately articulate these gaps, and they can't. And one more point about that. Many moms curriculum hop because of FOMO or fear of missing out. By the time their child completes 3rd grade levels, regardless of the curriculum program, a great many of these children have used 3 to 5 different math programs. That is the gap maker. Each curriculum has a different scope and sequence, and to bounce your child around is what causes those shaky foundations. And I went on to include other thoughts randomly, private thoughts that I have on my notes, because I thought I would want to make this into a video. So other things that I want to put here for you to consider. If your child hasn't grasped the concepts before moving on, it happens regardless of which curriculum you use. And that is very true. Each child will interact with things differently. Each child's going to struggle with different things differently. That's a little redundant. Each child's going to have different skills that are more or less challenging for them. It is the responsibility of the homeschooling parent to keep on top of that and to ensure that their child isn't left behind in order to keep up with the schedule, box checking, or just because mom wasn't completely in tune with where her child was. That's a parent-educator issue, not the curriculum. It sounds harsh. It really does. I know it does. But hear me out from where that's coming from. We get these books, we put these books in front of our children, and we just expect that whatever the book says, the order that the book goes in, that's how it's going to play out. And your child is a bucket, and we just have to fill that bucket, and it's going to stay in there, and it's going to be retained. And that's not the case. You have to have your child interact with that material, whether it's hands-on, whether it's multiple practice, whether it's math drills, whatever it is. It's up to you as the parent educator to ensure that whatever it is in that book, whatever book it is you use, is actually sticking. If it's not, then that's your cue that you have to do something different. You have to include something different. You need to add, take away, move to a whole new product, but that's on you. Again, it's harsh, but you got to think about those things. Remember, curriculum is a tool. It's an inanimate object, and it's up to the parents to ensure that their child isn't lost or struggling. It's not dissimilar to what happens in schools. Parents assume kids are learning and it's under control. They become passive when they get upset, or they become passive and then get upset when they discover that their child is a year or more behind the curve. And that happens quite often. My professional experience over 20 years ago, working in Title I, that happened a lot. I was working with 6th, 7th, and 8th graders that were at a 2nd and 3rd grade math level. And it was our responsibility to get them caught up as much as we could before they left the 8th grade to go into the high school. So they would either go into the high school or they would be recommended for the alternative high school, which just basically focused on life skills and life math so that they could get a basic functioning job as a garbage collector, a cashier. Nothing against those individuals that have those jobs. Nothing. But we're talking about our concern is not allowing yet another generation of children just going on to the welfare system. You wanted to make sure that they could at least try to provide for their needs. So where am I? They become, I've already read that. The buck stops with us, the parents, not the curriculum. These larger companies beta test the products prior to publishing. If these were faulty products, The Good and the Beautiful, along with others, think Apologia, Math with Confidence, would not have expanded to the volume that it has. Good, bad, like them, love them, hate them. These aren't just haphazardly thrown together and written by just anyone other than someone with a math degree, because The Good and the Beautiful does have several math degreed individuals that write and put these materials together. Kate Snow isn't a standalone or unique in this regard. Apologia, teaching textbooks, Math UC, Life of Fred, etc. all utilize math professionals, and yet they are also very different from each other. Think about that. If you've ever used Life of Fred, very, very, very different from Math UC, very, very different from Saxon, very different. But almost all of them. Saxon wasn't written by a math professional. He was an engineer of sorts. He had high levels of math, but he didn't hold a math degree. But so far, many of these math curricula are written by math professionals. We can't assume the curriculum is going to do the heavy lifting, and we can't be lackadaisical about it. We have to be fully present. I will say that is one thing to give Kate Snow credit on. She insists that parental involvement, at least through level 4, again, because I haven't seen level 5, is necessary. Otherwise, your child will struggle at some point and you'll be clueless as to why, how, or when it happened, causing the snowball effect. So when you see the online debates, Math with Confidence versus The Good and the Beautiful, it's like high school all over again. It is. The clicks, the in fashion, the hair, etc. A lot of followers parroting the group think. So my point with saying that is, think about what it was like going to school when we were younger. You had to be the in crowd, or you had to do what the in crowd did. Most people felt like they had to keep up with things. I didn't, but I'm a rare thing. I'm a rare case for that. You had the popular hair, the popular clothes, the brand. When I was going to school, the big thing was Tommy Hilfiger and Calvin Klein. If you didn't have any of those and you weren't wearing those consistently, well, you weren't in the in crowd. Billabong, that was another one if you were more of the burnout side of the popular cliques. But just, think about that. You get caught up in the group think. That's where I'm going with this. Don't be afraid to step outside of the echo chamber and really evaluate what you like and what you don't and what you need. If that is The Good and the Beautiful or Math with Confidence, both or neither, that's a-okay. Think for yourself and don't get wrapped up in the posts or videos that clickbait and cannot clearly define what their negative experiences are. For example, my oldest daughter, she's doing Denison currently. She's in pre-algebra. She, after level 3 of The Good and the Beautiful, she hated it, loathed it. Oh, talk about the drama. I wonder where she gets it from. We would have throwdowns over this. And I was just like, well, why are you having so many issues with it? It wasn't clicking to me that she doesn't do well with the spiral. She needs more mastery. She doesn't want to do a Math UC. Being on something for a year long is just way too tedious, but she needed something that didn't teach in little snippets throughout a full-length year like The Good and the Beautiful does. So that's why we put her in Denison, and that's her sweet spot. She likes it. It's enough mastery so that she can, how did I word it? I'm so convinced that notes are very vital, because when I start filming, I stutter and I lose track of my thoughts. So if you've ever done that, you can relate to me on that one. She needs to be able to stick to something and see it through from start to finish. And that's what she likes to do. She doesn't want to just have this mystery of we'll get there when we get there. She wants to know what she's doing from A to B. Hopefully this helps you. Hopefully you made it to this part and you've gotten through my ahs and my ums again. I'm using this channel in part for me to help me with public speaking, because even though there's nobody in my house right now, it's just me and it's just my chickens walking by the window out front. Something about looking into this video camera and it's going to be blasted out on the internet is terrifying to me. I don't like public speaking. I like to be in the corner with the spiders, nobody looking at me, nobody talking to me. We get into a group of people, or I get into a group of people out in real life, and I'm the one that's always at the back. I rarely will put in any of my thoughts, any of my opinions, unless it's people I know really well and I'm comfortable with them. So this is an experience for me to try to slow down when I talk and try to get my opinions out. But I hope that this helped. I plan on doing a series where I will show you side by side Math with Confidence and The Good and the Beautiful Math. I will show you specific examples, specific page numbers, specific things to look for so that you can make decisions. I'm planning on making my first video sometime next week. I have to get a different camera stand in order to do that more effectively. But I want to go through, the goal is to go through levels K through eventually 6 when Math with Confidence 6 comes out, so you can see side by side specifically what it is and what it's not. Do be mindful, proceed with caution, take everything you see on the internet, Facebook, YouTube, with a grain of salt. Think for yourself. As always, what you see on the screen is not necessarily going to mean the same thing to you when you're holding it in your hands, because it's a different beast. I can look at something on YouTube or on Facebook and I can see pictures of everything and be like, oh, that'll be great, or oh, that won't work for me. But then I actually get it in my hands and I look at it, I interact with the material, it's a different feeling. And then if I use that same book that I've looked through and I've touched and I've planned out and I've used it from start to finish, that's a completely different experience from just holding it and flipping through it personally. So each stage is very different. Each way you interact with the material is going to give you a completely different perspective on things. So don't just assume because you see the overwhelming majority of comments on YouTube as being, don't do this, it's going to ruin your child and you will just, it'll be miserable. No, don't automatically assume that. And don't assume that Math with Confidence is so very different that it is it's going to save, and it's not going to save anything. It might work for you, it might work for your child, and if you love Math with Confidence, please stick with it. And if you love The Good and the Beautiful, please stick with it. And if you're one of those really rare people that like Saxon, stick with it. I don't know how you can, but that's just me. Anything and everything will work, even if your child loathes it, even if it's something you personally can't stand. Just think about all of the homeschoolers from the 90s, from the 80s and 90s. They didn't have access to all of the stuff that we have now, and by golly, their kids did amazing, and they used what they could find in their libraries and in the dumpsters of their local public school system, and they made it work. You can make any of this stuff work. So if you've invested money, if you are like me and you have a room somewhere in your house full of thousands, it seems, of different curriculum that you didn't really want to use or you really didn't like because you got caught up in the FOMO, maybe go back through and investigate and see how you can use that, or at least just don't be swayed. I'm pulling up my sock because it's falling off right now. Don't be swayed by everything that you see. It's not always reality. And ask yourself questions. Can they articulate specifically, give you specific examples, page number, book of what it is that is considered the fluff? Not everybody wants a narrative style math. Well, then if that's the case, The Good and the Beautiful is not going to be for you. Master books math is not going to be for you. Life of Fred is not going to be for you. Not everybody wants a page of 60 plus problems to do. That's not going to be Saxon. Not everybody wants black and white. So there goes sex and there goes math mammoth. Or is that, yeah, it's math mammoth. Not everybody thinks that the bar model system that Singapore uses is great. Some people, I kid you not, they will see how that bar, I forget the bar model, whatever that, it has a specific name. They have seen that in other curriculum and they've called that fluff. It's not fluff. It's just how that particular book teaches. It's the examples that they give. I could look at so many things in math with confidence, and if I didn't interact with the material and I didn't see the why behind the methodology, well, you could consider that fluff. I could look at Good and the Beautiful and I can just assume that all of these pictures, well, that's just fluff. You don't need that. No, you don't need that, but that's how that particular product is using the material. That's how they're using these pictures for a reason. They don't just have pretty little flowers in the middle of the page for a reason, for no reason at all. They have, and again, when I go through this series, I'll show you, but they'll do like an algebraic equation, a flower plus 5 equals 10. You have to solve for what that flower is. Other books will put X, they'll put Y, they'll put some sort of a symbol. The Good and the Beautiful uses a flower. It's prettier, it's nicer. It's the same thing. So you have to decide what it is that you want. It's not going to harm your children. It's not the end of the world. Just ask questions, dive deeper, look for yourself, and hopefully this video has helped you. If it has, give it a like, subscribe, and look for my future videos of comparing the two books side by side. And you have a great weekend.